Why don't you talk to that family member anymore? Last time I saw my dad in person was 1998. He never wanted kids, and when my little sister was born, forced my mother to give her up for adoption. My mother went into a spiral of depression after that, and took her own life when I was still a teen. I found her body, had to deal with the cops and all that. And when my dad came home days later, he threw me out. You don't have your mother to protect you anymore, he said. I had to graduate high school homeless, crashing on friends' couches and guest rooms. My college dreams were crushed because I had to get a job to support myself, which was hard until I became a manager of a bookstore at age 18. That was 1987. Since then, I saw him only a handful of times. I got married, had a child. My wife, in her vain attempt to have some kind of family, tried inviting my dad and his new wife to be part of ours, since they only lived 20 minutes away. But he only made it over a handful of times. My son saw his relatives, distant cousins, in another country more than he saw his own grandfather. My father is very rich, and I was very poor, but my dad never offered to help. Because of this, we struggled for over a decade before we got out of poverty. He never spoke to us unless my wife made contact. Last time I saw my dad, he invited me out for my birthday in 1998, but it turns out he just wanted professional advice from my wife. She was an insurance adjuster. She was pretty insulted when she figured this out, and after that, she gave up on trying to have any kind of relationship with them. In 2000, they moved away, and said they had no fixed address, and planned to travel the world. I suspect that was a ruse, because I have since discovered they bought a multi-million-dollar beachfront condo that same year. While my dad has been pretty good at hiding his address, his wife is not. She's one of those socialite wannabes, and while she's not really a bad person, she's not exactly complicated by the realities of a common man, if that makes sense. Imagine being born rich, under your father's shadow, and never really having to have an actual job. Then, because of my work background check needs, I had to find out about their life and the money they made, because of the whole possible foreign money influence thing. I know that they are worth several million, have a lot of real estate, classic cars, and a 57 pleasure yacht with a staff. The US government considers them safe, so I guess that's good. In 2014, my wife of 25 years died, and that was the last time I spoke to them. I figured the mother to your only grandchild has died was a good enough reason to speak to them, and I sent them a certified letter. I got back a generic email from the wife, which can be summed up as, "So sorry, it happens, but don't worry, you'll find someone else. Your father did," which may come off as callous, but I think that's really how she sees things, and thought she was being mature and professional. No offers to help or "here's my number, call me if you need anything," or anything like that. Just a generic, "our condolences for a troubled time," one might get from a vendor or something. She even signed it with her full name and professional credentials. No idea if my dad even knows or cares. And that's ultimately it. He doesn't hate me. Hate is framed as the opposite of love, but really, they come from the same root. He is actually the opposite of love, indifference. He literally does not think of me or care, which is how he was about most people in his life. He sees people like appliances. You use them when you need them, otherwise you don't think about them much. I mean, do you think about your toaster until you need toast? He's like that about people. And when the toaster has problems, throw it out and get a new one. Once in a while, I have to look them up because I have to re-up clearance or something. I last know my dad was alive and present for a voting redistricting video call for his district about a year ago. I suspect when he dies, I will not be informed, but we'll find out months or years after the fact.